What's up, everybody? This is Unrested with the questions you requested, and this is JFAQ, Japan's frequently asked questions. Today I'm going to talk about a couple little clips sent to me by a viewer named Yip. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's J-I-P, but I'm imagining it's pronounced Yip. And he sent me one. It was a picture with a little caption underneath it talking about these orange fluorescent balls. I actually have a facsimile. They would look like this shape, just like a ball pit ball, I guess this is what this is, except they're orange. I use these to practice juggling. That's why I happen to have these on me. I'm at the park right now with my kids practicing a little bit of juggling. And he was asking me if this is true because it says that these orange fluorescent balls are at every konbini in Japan. That is a convenience store, if you don't know what konbini is. And if somebody tries to rob the konbini, they pick these balls up and they throw them at them as they are leaving the store. The balls break open, they splatter, and orange fluorescent paint coats the person and or car they are driving, and it is very easy for the police to capture them afterwards because this orange ink is apparently very hard to get off. It's pretty much the equivalent to the kind of purple ink that would explode in money bags when people rob a bank. It's something like that. It's pretty much to tag and mark somebody doing a crime. And I know for sure, I know 100% for sure, these are definitely true. They do exist. They are in Japan. They are usually in darn near every konbini. I don't think every konbini, like a small chain like Daily Yamazaki, probably doesn't have these balls, but I know for sure Lawson's uses them pretty religiously. I'm not so sure about Family Mart or 7-Eleven, but I have seen them behind the counter multiple times, and I remember even watching a variety show one time in which they were talking about all these incredible things that old people in Japan had done, and one of them was a story about this old lady working at a konbini. A guy came in, tried to rob it, he held an X-Acto knife to her throat, and handed her the items that he wanted to steal. He was like, just put them in the bag and I'm gonna leave. And this lady was so gutsy. She rings up the items, tells him how much they cost, puts them in the bag and waits for the money. And then the guy was just like, what the heck? Like, the look on his face was just like, what? Like, you're not gonna just let me rob the store? I'm like a teenage dude who could beat the crap out of you. And she just doesn't budge. She's just like, whatever. Like, you can even see it, they're showing the CCTV footage, and they're just like, no, not gonna do it. And so this guy gets scared, he runs out of the store. This old granny comes running out of the store, still seeing it on the CCTV footage. She tosses these like a baseball pitcher, just the strongest arm I've ever seen on an old lady, and just smashes him into the guy, his car that he's trying to get away with. And apparently, like, the police found him like 5 to 10 minutes later. Like, they were already on the case and they captured this guy super quick, and it was all because of this lady and her orange balls. That sounds like a great story, an old lady and her orange balls. So yes, they definitely do exist. They look like a kind of a strange thing, and you kind of wonder, like, well, what if somebody can't throw very well? Like, is that going to work out very good? And you gotta have pretty good aim, especially if they're pretty far away. But anyway, they do exist. They are real. Another thing he sent me is that there is a new hired cabinet minister for the repopulation of Japan. This guy apparently has 4 kids of his own, and he knows very well, he says, how hard it is, how expensive it is, and how much work it is to raise children in Japan. And so he's going to go ahead and make sure to start working out rewards and all different types of benefits to having children in Japan. What those benefits and rewards are, he doesn't mention at all in this article, and that's politicians for you. Lots of promises and no follow-through, all talk and no walk. I'm not saying just Japan, that's how politicians are. I'm saying all over the world, that's how politicians are. They're all talk and no walk. They make a lot of promises. To give you an example, a little bit right before this guy was hired to be the cabinet minister of repopulation of Japan, there was a cabinet minister team hired for making a reduction in overwork in Japan, because as you know, a lot of people working 12 hours. There's been problems with people dying from overwork, etc., etc. This group got together and was like, we're gonna finally stop Japanese people from having to work too much. Well, that group was disbanded and it didn't work out, and they didn't reduce any of the working hours in Japan. Main problem was they actually had to work too much, and they themselves were complaining about how much they had to work to try and get this done because nothing was being accomplished, and they disbanded due to, now get this, due to overwork. The irony is just palpable. So I imagine, I mean, unless this guy actually follows through with anything, you know, it's one of those situations where I'll believe it when I see it. You know, this guy is making all these promises like, I'm gonna make sure I come up with rewards and benefits, but he doesn't even have like any examples in mind. Now, mind you, of course, I realize he doesn't want to make any, you know, sudden examples that people are like, why didn't you follow through with that? But at the same time, give us some kind of idea of what you have in mind for rewards and benefits to having children, and when these are going to finally kick in, and is it going to be way too late? Apparently, this guy says if he can make the average birth rate go from 1.42 children to 2.1, then the national average will level out and Japan will be back up to a normal population by the year 2060. Right now it's headed towards a very, very dismal depopulation. Some have even criticized it as severely as saying that it will be cut in half by that time, which I seriously doubt Japan's population will be cut in half by 2060, but some of the most, I guess, negative extremists have cited that that's a possibility. And last but not least, I want to mention one other caption that I've seen recently a lot circulated around Facebook. There is this picture of kindergartners in Japan, and it says, kindergartners in Japan don't have to take any tests. They're just allowed to explore their environment and learn from exploring their environment, because in Japan they don't believe that testing such young kids is needed. Bullshit. That's what I can say to that one. I don't know who made up this little commentary on that picture. I know the one before it, Rocket News 24 did, that one with the orange balls that are being thrown. Rocket News tends to be on cue because I think they actually have a few members who are writing for them who actually live in Japan, so they actually kind of know what they're talking about. I don't know who wrote this caption. If you guys figure out who wrote that kindergarten one, let me know. Post it in the comments below. I can't remember offhand. But that's bullshit. Okay, so first off, okay, as proof, here's one kid, and there's the other kid. I have two kindergartners right now. I can assure you they had to take tests to enter kindergarten. They had to take tests such as like saying simple stuff like what's your name, responding to it. They had manners tests. They had tests to see how they played with other kids. And then on top of that, they're not even talking about all the different JFAQ tests. JFAQ is cram school. It's a school that helps the kids learn the different entrance exams for the elementary school or junior high school that they will enter. Just shitloads of tests, just tons and tons of tests. My kid has taken so many tests already that you wouldn't believe it. So that's bullshit. That's someone who obviously has never lived, visited, or had a kindergarten child in Japan. I'm saying this from loads of experience. There are a lot of fucking tests. Japan is just filled with tests, okay? From the time that you're 3 and 4 years old, you are taking tests. From the time you're almost 2.5, you're taking tests. Anyway, guys, I hope I covered a lot there for you in that quick 8 minutes. I am unrested with the questions you requested. This is JFAQ, Japan's frequently asked questions. Have a good one.